Hello and welcome to the Mayor's Show here at Town Meeting TV. I'm Mayor Emma Mulvaney-Stanek of the great city of Burlington. Today I'm going to have a really fun conversation. It's summer in Vermont finally. I think it stopped raining for at least 5 minutes. And what I'm doing today with part of our city team here is to talk about the great programming, events, and opportunities here in the Queen City that are coming up, that have actually happened a little bit already because we like to get summer started early here in Burlington, but things that are coming in the next few weeks as we get deeper into summer in July, September, and even into October. So I'm joined today by three folks from three different parts of city government. I'm joined by Samantha McGinnis, who's here in the middle, who is the director of the Church Street Marketplace. I'm joined by Aaron Moreau. They are the Waterfront Division Director and Harbor Master, and maybe they'll tell us what that role is in the conversation. And also our Communications Director for Burlington City Arts, Elena Rosen, who is here as well from that great department. And I'm just so excited because a lot of what we have been thinking about actually takes planning many months in advance, right? Especially for events and the amount of programming we have, which, as I recall, is basically programmed between the marathon start all the way through Labor Day, which takes a lot of hard work by your teams. And I thought maybe to kick it off, we can just do a light opening question about like what's the either favorite or most fun thing in each of your departments, which is sort of on the docket, on the schedule coming up between now and Labor Day. And either one of you can start, and then we'll sort of just go through.
I'm happy to kick that off. So we have coming up in just a few weeks a series that we launched last year and we're bringing back called Party on the Bricks. And this is a 6-week series that goes and pops up on a different block of the Church Street Marketplace. So it's a different restaurant and a different band every week, Thursdays from 5:30 to 8. And it's just a really fun time down on the marketplace. There's big games that kids can play. There's community coming together to check in. Great live music, a different restaurant to try out, and I'm really excited for that one to be coming back.
That's really great. I think it's really fun when people also stumble upon the great programming that could be happening in our parks throughout the city, of course, but a lot of the intentional stuff we're bringing into the center city, and people can be out for dinner, but then stumble across live music that's not just on Jazz Fest. So I think it's so great that that one's coming forward. Yeah. Great, thanks, Samantha. Who else has a fun thing that they want to highlight coming up?
Oh, we have a little thing going on here pretty soon for Independence Day. Obviously this year, it's a big year, 250th celebration of Independence Day here. And locally, we actually host it on July 3rd for Burlington. And so for folks who are not so sure about that, we answer some questions on that. We really don't want to take away from the small town feel of the rest of Vermont and their local celebrations. So we kick it back one day early and celebrate on July 3rd. Which I think is a great thing that Burlington does. We're going to have a lot of fun this year. So again, we're going to have a band down at Waterfront Park on the main stage, providing a lot of good cover songs because that just seems like a good thing in the vibe for the day.
Are we all old enough now for cover songs to like really, really fun?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know. 90s children, I think, that are coming to age in the 90s. I love a good cover band these days.
Yeah.
You know it's real when they start playing the 90s as a throwback, and I was like, okay, we can do this. But it's going to be a lot of fun. So, activities kick off at 5 p.m. And this year, to kind of commemorate a special year, we have our local company, Beta, providing us a really neat aerial parade. And it really will be an aerial parade celebrating past, present, and future of aircraft and showcasing some of their electric airplanes. So I'm excited for that. And then obviously the fireworks after 9:30, rain or shine, just no thunderstorms. But we're really excited. It's going to be a great year.
That's great. Well, it's such a great sort of informal kickoff, really big time for the city, and not only your department, Aaron, but there's so many other city departments who wrap around and support that to make sure people can safely come in and out of Burlington with all the traffic. Just the great coordination, so we can put on a really good party and show for all of the surrounding communities.
Oh, yeah.
And so big invitation from the city of Burlington to come down to the waterfront and to the city in general to celebrate on July 3rd, which hopefully most people have the day off, so you should come all the way down to the city, which would be great. Well, I'm excited for that part as well.
And you're right. It takes a large city team
Yeah.
to produce this.
Yeah.
And a lot of partners and a lot of cooperation, which is how it should be.
Yeah, and actually, now that I think about it, it's a great example of larger community to support Burlington being the big city for this county. At least we get a lot of mutual aid support from other surrounding communities in terms of police and fire backup, because we are hosting so many people in town to be able to make sure that all the other services are being provided. So thank you to all those neighboring towns for helping us put this on. Elena, what stands out for you, either from BCA or just one of your favorites that's coming up this summer?
It's hard to choose. That's one of the fun parts about Summer in Burlington is there's so much happening with our Summer in the City initiative, which brings together over 100 free programs from all of the city departments between June and September. There's something happening every single day. So it's really hard to narrow it down. One of my favorites that's always a big moment for BCA is the Festival of Fools. It's so beloved by the community. It's on July 31st and August 1st this year. And we fill the streets of downtown Burlington with street performers, musicians. We have great live music this year. And it's just such a wonderful community moment when everyone comes together and can really enjoy the Church Street Marketplace, can enjoy everything the city has to offer with these free performances and just laughter on the breeze. It's incredible.
That is one of the best, and I'm so glad that last year we had a lot of community partners who helped us keep it going, because it does take resources, money, to put on a lot of these events, and now we're really putting, I think, a strong foot forward of inviting partners in, so it's not just held by the city to do a lot of the events that you briefly talked about, but even more. And that is one of the big pieces around when we have now started talking about Burlington is back. It's a collective effort. It's really been wonderful to see invitation extended and people come forward who are not city entities to help co-host, to dream up new things that haven't been happening yet, infrastructure-wise or at least process-wise. The city's worked really hard to streamline. If you want to put on a big event in the city of Burlington, we're making it easier. I forget the name of the software, but anyway, making it like sort of one-stop shop. Is it OpenGov? I know all these hardworking city staff know what it is. But it allows you sort of to streamline all the permitting and other questions and requests you need to do, rather than going to 4 different departments to actually have a unified way to apply. And those little things are helping us to activate our community, because it really is our community. It is not up to just the city to bring that vibrancy and to continue to bring that vibrancy into the city. So it's really exciting, yeah. And Festival of Fools is such a fun one too, but it's great for kids. It's just a very unique Burlington thing, and to be able to keep that going, even with a slightly, rethought from last year format. I'm really just excited that one will continue going forward.
Yeah, no, it's just so beloved, and we really saw last year with the business community rallying around it how important it is to our downtown businesses. It's a weekend that many businesses say is one of the best of the year for them. It brings tens of thousands of people downtown, and to really see that community buy-in is so powerful.
That's great. What are the websites that we should probably plug a couple times about any of the things you've mentioned so far, or that might be a landing spot if people are curious about July 3rd details, for example, or Festival of Fools, or any of the 100 plus other free events that are happening in town? What are some of the websites we can direct people to?
I think so. If we're talking about Summer in the City, it's loveburlington.org/Summer in the City. And that has the whole listing of all the events we've talked about here, and will lead you to the other websites. And it has all those 100 plus free events listed there, and it kind of highlights what's coming right up in the next few weeks. So if you're interested in what you can do that weekend, it'll be right there at the top, so you can see what you should be checking out.
That's great.
And it's really great that we also, like local businesses and community organizations, can also input their events into the Summer in the City calendar. So we have our 100 plus free city events, but then also all these other amazing community partners who are doing things. You can find it all there on the Summer in the City website.
That's so helpful, especially when you're, especially if you have small people in your life, meaning children, and you're shuffling around and saying, I just got to the weekend and exhausted, but I want to go out. It's beautiful. What do I go and bring the kids to? It's so great that we can offer that extra platform for community partners. Another great example of how do we facilitate as the city and not hold everything as the city going forward. Speaking of things that have been really economic booms, I would say, for downtown businesses, I heard a lot of positive feedback around downtown jazz and bringing that back to Church Street as part of the bigger jazz festival, which of course our partners at the Flynn also do a major lift on around the overall and the history that a very important partner has offered for waterfront programming, as well as at the Flynn itself, of course. But I heard from many folks that was a remarkable weekend where there was not only great energy brought into the downtown, but businesses did really well that weekend. They saw more people than they had in a long time. So I'm curious, Elena or Samantha, like what your reflections were on downtown jazz this year, and what did you see and experience in Burlington that weekend?
This was a great partnership between the BCA and the Church Street Marketplace. We brought the stage back to the top block, which I don't think had been there since pre-COVID. So kind of a throwback now, which is hard to believe that pre-COVID is a throwback. But we brought the stage back on the top block for 4 nights, as well as an additional pitch down by Lunig's right off of College Street. We had all of the high school and middle school bands there during the day, and it was such a positive, wonderful few days on the marketplace. The weather was lovely, which we did not have any control of, but was great. And we were able to fill the marketplace with great music, a lot of community connections, so many people coming together to enjoy the space, enjoy the music, enjoy the positivity. We saw people dancing, little tiny kiddos to older folks all coming down, eating at Church Street Marketplace restaurants. It was really, really wonderful.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll echo everything Sam said. It was such a special moment, such a great way to kick off summer in the city with just this big burst of energy. We had more than 7,000 people at those concerts.
Wow.
Every single patio on the Church Street Marketplace was filled. There was just, you could hear jazz wherever you walked around downtown. And yeah, the dancing in the streets was just so joyful. My favorite moment was seeing 2 twin toddler boys like just jamming out to Andriana and the Bananas. They've got some lifelong fans there. It was magical. It was everything summer in Burlington is all about.
I love that. And I can imagine into next year, for example, because we are officially opening Great Street Main Street on July 17th and 18th. I want to just invite everybody downtown again in the middle of July, because we have now these great large sidewalks that now can be programmed and add additional space for people to have as sort of the commons of Burlington. Up and along that now beautiful street that's been redone, and I think almost the last pieces of sidewalk are going in now. So there's a lot of new spaces to program and to provide even more vibrancy as we get later into the summer, but certainly as we think about next year, so that there's even more places people can explore, more businesses with more patio spaces. And we'll get to public art in just a second, because there's some really exciting stuff. If you haven't been again downtown recently, there's some beautiful, and I mean visually stunning pieces of new public art up and down Main Street, which we'll come back to in just a second. And I also think it's interesting, of course, when Jazz Fest happens, and it was fun. When you're a mayor, some things they don't tell you during orientation. That's not really an orientation. Mayor-elect time, those 3 weeks when you're like, my whole life has changed. One is Jazz Fest, how it gets surrounded literally by music. City Hall, the place where the mayor works, and actually most of us have offices there. Aaron, of course, is down studying the lake and whatever the harbor master does. We will come back to that too. But it was so joyful to see all of the young people in particular, elementary, middle, high schoolers, just really surround the building. And sometimes there was competing jazz going on, which was a little hard in the head. But to be able to see the really proud parents and families and teachers and educators, it was just so joyful to really, what all of these really illustrate is, this is our downtown and community, and when we take that space up and we come down and we're in community, we can feel sort of not only the energy but the vibrancy that creates, and that's the kind of message and sort of just both message but also experience I think we really want to give to each other, but of course all the Vermonters who we hope are making plans to come to Burlington. So let's actually jump over to the lake for a second, Aaron. First of all, I met many inquiring minds would love to know what in the world is this harbor master thing. It is in the charter, just for the record. But what is that role? And then you can build off of that. But like, how are we programming the lake and our beaches and our parks this summer in general? But please.
Yes.
Tell us, what is the harbor master?
We can't take ourselves too seriously as a harbor master on a lake. I always defer when I'm at conferences and the big ocean harbor masters, I'm like, all right, I get it. You have a very different and unique role. Here on a lake, it is different, and it's a little bit more fun. So that's really neat. What it is, hey, we want to make sure that folks coming in via vessel are being safe. So first off, we want to make sure of that. And a lot of that is making sure that we're in conjunction with the Coast Guard here locally. So we do have a Coast Guard station in Burlington, and we're making sure, hey, the buoys are out. We're saying no wake zones in places that are safe. And we're also making sure that our swim buoys are out at all of our beaches to make sure that we have really clear delineated swim zones. One can imagine you don't want to mix boats and swimmers, so we're making sure of that. And then obviously we have our marinas, and then I kind of go land side a bit and go onto a waterfront park. And so I'd love to talk about briefly our swim water program because we want people to know before they go. That's what we always say. Know before you go to the beaches, know our conditions. We actually have an entire program. We have seasonal staff dedicated to daily monitoring of all of our municipal beaches. From the south end all the way to the north end. We're out there multiple times a day, and we have live results. So you can go on the website, BTV Parks, and see our results. You can actually almost track
What are the
our
results
staff.
of?
Yeah, let me tell you about
that. Our non-friend.
Our non-friend.
Yeah.
But we do two types of testing. The daily monitoring is cyanobacteria, the thing that a lot of people hear about, and I feel like there's sometimes like a mystery about it, and we want to bring that education out, and we really want to inform people of the status of our beaches, and we want to make sure people can enjoy their time and know so with confidence. And so we say, hey, we're going to be out here daily, checking the water. And that's a visual test. So a lot of people don't realize, like, we're actually looking at the lake. We're out there. We're seeing what's in there, and ensuring that we don't have swimmers in cyanobacteria waters. And so we're putting that out, and people can take a look at those live results throughout the day. And then a quick mention, because we're going to have an app coming soon.
Ooh.
And there'll be a lot more information on that.
Great.
People can seek that information out here in the beginning of July. We just want to create as many ways as possible to get people this information. And then twice a week, we also test for E. coli. So that is the serious and side of kind of lake management.
Yep.
The bottom line is we have really beautiful beaches. North Beach is fantastic. It's one of the largest municipal beaches in the state. People seeking those quieter areas of Oakledge Cove or Letty Beach by my neck of the woods. I live in the New North End, so I frequent that myself with my kids. We have really beautiful sandy beaches here that people can come, they can recreate, they can play at the playgrounds, play tennis, and then take a quick dip as we get into these hot, steamy days that we're looking at forecasted ahead.
One of the things I really love about, first of all, very cool that we're launching an app, but in the time being before the app goes live, people can look on the social media page, right, for Burlington Parks Waterfront Department, as well as probably the website for some more information on
our website
health.
and socials.
Great, perfect, yeah. But I was just going to say, in case you haven't been to Burlington lately, another third invitation to come back to the city. But Letty Park is a free beach. You do not have to pay to park. You do not have to pay to get into the park itself, and that's a really important thing for equitable access to the lake. And one of the things we're working on as a city. See, live television, it's all okay. But one of the things we're really working on as a city, it won't be done this season, but we have to make sure that as we continue to respond to the reality that we're living in a time of climate change, and in Vermont in particular, the increased numbers of storms, heat, etc., cold, extreme heat, is something that we're adapting to here as a city. So I know within your department, Aaron, and probably others to come, we're trying to adapt as a city to make sure people have equitable access to places to cool, but also places to access water. So a splash pad or two in the future that we can build without extreme cost and be really smart about, like kind of a smart, affordable way to do that is on the horizon for Burlington, especially for neighborhoods that tend to be more locked in with concrete. Old North End is a great example of that, to make sure there's water access when the lake is unfortunately, or the beaches I should say, are closed due to a bacteria bloom or whatnot. So things to look forward to.
And we know that's a cause of warmer climates.
Yes.
Right? So we want to be reactive to that. I love that you brought up Letty. It is free. People can go, on Wednesdays for beach bites. Nothing better than some local food vendors. And if you want to take a dip, you hop right down there. You're right at the beach as well. But it's really important on those hot days to be able to cool your body, and access to water is really important.
Right. And just so we're not playing favorites with the beaches, even though it's okay, because Letty is my actual favorite. But the other thing I really love about North Beach, however, is that one is a beach that has accessibility for folks who are using wheelchairs or other differently able people to get into the actual water. And I know that is something that Parks has been really leading on, to think about accessibility of all of our parks. We have an accessible playground over at Oakledge, which we opened a couple of years ago. Very proud about these moments of intentionality, because that can be things that get really missed around the ability for people of all bodies and abilities to be able to access outdoor recreation spaces. So yeah, great. All right. Well, to art, because I am very excited about this. I also am not going to say favorites because they're all beautiful, to be clear. But as part of some of the work the city has been doing, because part of what can sometimes be one of the first things that isn't prioritized when money is tight is public art. And public art is yet such an important part of vitality of a community, and to really expand on the mind, especially of young people, of possibilities, perspective, vision really is so many elements I think of when I think about art in particular. But we've been really innovative around investing strategic dollars through our TIF financing system to make sure we're putting money aside to specifically invest in public art. And so, Elena, can you talk a little bit about what people might see for the first time that is new, not only on Main Street, although there's two beautiful pieces there, but in the inner part of our city of the new public art installations?
Yeah, no, we've had the ability to commission some really incredible new public art that really tells the story of our city in so many different ways. It's so unique, it's so individual. So on Main Street, we have 4 beautiful new monumental sculptures that are part of this incredible updated streetscape, which is so cool that we've been able to center creativity in these infrastructure improvements. And when we give artists the opportunity to dream on this scale and create on this scale, they can create these monumental pieces that really can spark important conversations, can create gathering spaces, and just tell the story of who we are as a city. So you may have seen Lakebone by Nancy Winship Milliken, which is a new piece that was installed just a couple weeks ago on Main Street, just up from the intersection with Pine Street. It's pretty unmissable. It is made from a 48-foot black locust tree that has been preserved and now looks like a piece of driftwood. And it hovers 12 feet above the sidewalk over a pollinator garden. And it's really incredible. It tells both the story of Burlington's history as a lumber center and the ecological damage that did and the harm it's caused to lake health. But it also looks ahead to what we can do to make changes in our water management and some of the infrastructure changes of Main Street that we're doing to improve lake health and help with those cyanobacteria blooms and you know, and make sure that there is deadwood in our waterways that maintains that health.
Well, I have not fully been briefed on the Lakebone sculpture, but I just learned a lot, because Burlington does have that big lumber history, which was dramatically impactful, not only in Burlington, but across the state, with a lot of deforestation of our state 100 plus years ago or so. The Lakebone sculpture in particular, because we are getting some questions at the mayor's office. We get a lot of questions at the mayor's office, but just want to be very clear on the funding. Maybe you can help me, Elena. Yeah. This is a dedicated pot of money to support public art. This is not, you've heard a lot about the budget and limited resources we have. Can you just speak briefly about how we've actually carved out dedicated funds? And when I mean dedicated, they cannot be spent on other things. Can you talk a little bit about how we've structured that?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I say these infrastructure improvements that center creativity, this was part of the TIF funding that was part of the Main Street Great Streets project. There was a budget of $500,000 for all 4 art pieces that were commissioned to be created. Lakebone cost a little over $140,000, which, when you think of the absolute village of people that Nancy worked with to make this happen, is not very much. So it is, yeah, that is a dedicated pot of money that was dedicated, and we have that. We really live by that ethos in Burlington. We have a % for public art ordinance that clarifies that a percentage of capital improvements go towards the creation of new public art. And it's a real commitment to our identity as a creative city and a creative community, and that we want to maintain this unique sense of place. We don't want to turn into a cookie cutter commercial city.
Absolutely. Well, two other sculptures, and we're almost out of time, that I just want to highlight too. Anthology, which is closer to City Hall, is this beautiful, almost like a rainbow effect with the way that the piece was put together. And it was crowdsourced by local folks bringing flowers that have been, is it resin? That were sort of preserved in this resin format of the sculpture. And I will just say, as someone who walks by that every single day multiple times, the number of people who interface with that piece of art daily brings me so much joy. The number of photos people take and curiosity is really such one of the wonderful things you can see with public art that is designed to really invite people in and to see their city through, in this way, many beautiful colors for that matter. And since it is Pride Month, I also wanted just to mention the other piece, which I won't remember the name of, that's near Burlington Square or City Place, which is the new two large buildings that have gone up in what used to be called the Pit in the center of the city. But there's this beautiful sculpture there that I know has such a reflection back to the history of queer folks here in Burlington, but also some of the history, which I didn't realize until I was standing there at the ribbon cutting there, around the strong pride and history here in Burlington, around some of the early first Pride festivals and parades that happened back in the 80s, and just some of the queer elders in the community who came out and were part of sort of the generation of that particular piece. Do you want to just mention that briefly about what that, because I will not remember the name, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's called Dance in Place, and the artist is Christopher Kojar, and he was inspired by the Vermont Queer Archives, which is just filled with these stories of the queer community in Vermont, and it is this really joyful, colorful piece. Again, much like Anthology, which is by Lydia Kern, is a piece you can see through. It really does allow you to kind of a different lens to see the city through. You literally can look through the piece. I encourage you to go to our website, burlingtoncityarts.org, and you can learn about all the public art in our city. And a great way to spend summertime is take yourself on a little public art tour.
No, that's great. I love that. So rapid fire for our last couple minutes we have, and this is the most stressful question of all of them. So you got to think really, really hard about this. First of all, favorite ice cream or creamy specifically flavor, and where can you find that in the city of Burlington?
Oh, I'm jumping in.
Okay, all right.
I'm gonna go with maple black raspberry twist with sprinkles.
Classic,
Because we should treat ourselves.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be partial. The waterfront has some of the best creamies in town.
Good recommendation.
I'm gonna have to say, because it's strawberry season right now, strawberry ice cream, and my favorite place to find that is at Lake Champlain Chocolates, either at Pine Street or on Church Street. Surprisingly enough, they have some of the best strawberry ice cream you can try.
I'm a chocolate person, and I love the dark chocolate sorbetto at Shy Guy Gelato. That's one of my favorites, and it's clearly a favorite of lots of people because there will sometimes be a line like up the block.
I love that. Well, I'll probably do two, because for creamies, it would definitely be Burlington Bay, it's a classic vanilla chocolate twist kind of moment without sprinkles. And I think it's been widely reported that the mayor doesn't like candy. Sorry, you can put it on my Wikipedia page. I'm okay with that. But I do like ice cream. And also one of the most joyous moments, because we do have to do things during stick season to keep our hope alive. And so in early April, when Ben & Jerry's does Free Cone Day, it is one of my most favorite moments in Burlington, because people I've scooped before as a celebrity scooper, the amount of joy that walks through that room when you get to say whatever you want. Pick whatever flavor. It's just such a great kind of moment to bring people downtown and have a little bit of joy in the middle of what is still kind of the dredges of winter. So with that, team, thanks for being on the Mayor's Show today to talk about all the exciting stuff that's facing or going to happen in the city, and all the intentional and really hard work that went into it from all of the teams that you are representing here around the table. And I'm sure that if folks, again, have any questions, you can find, what's the website again, Samantha?
Loveburlington.org.
Loveburlington.org. And not only in the summertime, it has all the other programming that happens the other 365 days of the year. So thanks again, team, for being on. And we'll see you next time here on the Mayor's Show.